What is happiness anyway? We humans have been asking this question for millennia. Is it a pile of money as tall as the Empire State Building? Is it having your name up in lights, or maybe just a life of endless pizza and video games? Our friend Alex has been wrestling with this very question, and he's decided to go on a journey to figure it out, consulting the wisest minds across history. He's traveling through time, not with a DeLorean, but with an open mind, ready to learn from the greatest thinkers of all time. What is true happiness? Is it wealth, fame, or pleasure? Join Alex, a curious traveler, as he embarks on a journey through time to discover the wisdom of history's greatest thinkers. Alex finds himself in ancient Athens, face to face with Socrates, the OG of philosophy. It's like stepping into a time machine and landing in the middle of a philosophical epicenter. I mean, the guy practically invented thinking deeply as a pastime. Socrates wasn't just a thinker, he was a revolutionary in the realm of ideas.
Tell me, young traveler, what do you believe is the key to happiness? Is it something you can touch, or is it something more profound?
Alex, a bit starstruck, stammers, rattling off the usual suspects. Wealth, fame, maybe a really cool chariot. He's trying to find the right answer, but it feels like grasping at straws.
My friend, true happiness doesn't come from external things, it comes from within. It's a state of being, not a state of having.
He explains that the path to happiness lies in self-knowledge. It's about understanding who you are at your core.
The unexamined life is not worth living. This is the cornerstone of Socratic thought.
Alex, initially confused, starts to grasp the idea. To be happy, you need to understand yourself, your values, your purpose. It's a journey of introspection and self-discovery. Socrates, never one for straightforward answers, challenges Alex to question his assumptions, to dig deeper into the meaning of life. He pushes him to think beyond the surface. He encourages Alex to think critically, to question everything, even seemingly obvious truths. It's about peeling back the layers of understanding. This process, Socrates argues, is not just about finding answers, but about understanding the questions themselves. It's a lifelong pursuit of wisdom. Alex, feeling a bit like he's just walked into a philosophy lecture on his first day of class, starts to see the wisdom in Socrates' words. It's a lot to take in, but it's also incredibly enlightening. He realizes that true happiness isn't about accumulating possessions or achieving external validation. It's about understanding and nurturing your inner self. It's about finding peace within. The journey to happiness, it seems, begins with a journey inward. It's a path that requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to explore the depths of one's own soul. Next, Alex finds himself in a beautiful garden, the air filled with the scent of fresh bread and the sound of laughter echoing through the trees. The garden is a haven of tranquility, with vibrant flowers and lush greenery all around. He's joined by Epicurus, a philosopher not exactly a household name like Socrates or Plato, but this guy knew how to live a fulfilling life. Epicurus believed in the pursuit of happiness through simple pleasures and meaningful connections.
Is this all you eat, just bread and olives?
Alex, used to a more, shall we say, extravagant diet filled with rich and luxurious foods, is a bit skeptical about this modest meal.
Happiness isn't about indulging in excess, but savoring life's simple pleasures. It's about finding joy in the little things, like the taste of fresh bread or the company of good friends.
Epicurus emphasizes the importance of friendship, good conversation, and of course, delicious food, but always in moderation. He believed that these simple pleasures were the key to a happy and content life.
Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you do not. Appreciate the present and what it offers.
Alex, initially hesitant and unsure, finds himself drawn to the peaceful atmosphere of the garden. The serenity of the place starts to have a calming effect on him. He notices the genuine joy radiating from Epicurus and his companions as they share their simple meal and engage in heartfelt conversations. He begins to understand that happiness isn't about chasing fleeting pleasures or material wealth, but cultivating contentment in the present moment. It's about being mindful and appreciating what you have right now. Epicurus emphasizes the importance of living in accordance with nature, finding joy in the natural world and the simple things in life. He teaches that true happiness comes from within and is not dependent on external circumstances. He stresses the need to let go of anxieties and fears, particularly the fear of death, which he believes is nothing to be feared. By overcoming these fears, we can live more fully and freely. This, he argues, frees us to truly embrace life and find joy in the present moment. It's about living without the constant worry of what might happen, and instead focusing on the here and now. Alex, reflecting on his own life, realizes how often he's caught up in chasing after the next big thing, forgetting to appreciate the simple joys already present in his life. He starts to see the value in slowing down and being more mindful. He starts to see the wisdom in Epicurus's philosophy. Happiness is not a destination but a way of experiencing the journey. It's about finding joy in the everyday moments and being grateful for what you have. Alex's next stop is the Lyceum in Athens, where he meets Aristotle, a student of Plato, and a pretty big deal in his own right. This guy was a walking encyclopedia, literally writing about everything from physics to poetry.
Happiness, or eudaimonia as the Greeks called it, isn't just about feeling good, but about living well.
He argues that every being, including humans, has an inherent purpose, and true happiness comes from fulfilling that purpose.
Happiness depends upon ourselves.
Alex, a bit overwhelmed by Aristotle's intensity, tries to wrap his head around this idea of a predetermined purpose.
For humans, this purpose is rooted in our capacity for reason and virtue.
He stresses the importance of developing good habits, cultivating virtues like courage, justice, and wisdom. These virtues, he argues, are not just abstract ideals but practical tools for living a fulfilling and happy life. Alex, though initially intimidated by the idea of living virtuously, starts to see the logic in Aristotle's argument. He realizes that true happiness isn't about passively experiencing pleasure, but about actively striving to be the best version of himself. He begins to understand that a life lived in accordance with virtue is a life filled with purpose, meaning, and ultimately, happiness. Suddenly, Alex finds himself in ancient Rome, caught in a torrential downpour. He takes shelter with a group of philosophers known as the Stoics. Now, these guys were all about keeping their cool, no matter what life threw their way.
Despite the raging storm outside, Aurelius sits calmly, seemingly unfazed.
Aren't you worried about the storm?
The Stoics believe in focusing on what they can control, their thoughts and actions, and accepting what they cannot.
Next, Alex encounters Seneca, a renowned Stoic philosopher and playwright.
True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxiety about the future.
Alex, still a bit anxious from the storm, tries to grasp the concept of living in the now.
It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it.
Alex, reflecting on the Stoics' teachings, starts to see the power in their philosophy. He realizes that true happiness isn't about avoiding life's storms, but about learning to weather them with grace and resilience. Alex's journey takes him to ancient China, where he meets Confucius, a philosopher whose teachings have shaped East Asian thought for centuries.
The superior man is always happy, the small man is sad.
Confucius, surrounded by his students, speaks of the importance of social harmony. He believes that happiness is not an individual pursuit, but something that flourishes within a community.
There are 5 key relationships: ruler and subject, parent and child, husband and wife, elder sibling and younger sibling, and friend. Fulfilling one's role in each relationship with respect, responsibility, and benevolence creates a harmonious society where individuals can thrive.
Confucius emphasizes the significance of rituals and traditions, not as empty gestures, but as ways to cultivate respect, order, and connection within a community.
By honoring these customs, we strengthen the social fabric that supports individual happiness.
Alex, though initially skeptical, begins to see the wisdom in Confucius's teachings. He realizes that true happiness isn't isolated from others but flourishes in the context of meaningful relationships and a just society. Alex's final stop is ancient India, where he encounters the Buddha, seated serenely beneath a Bodhi tree. The air is filled with a sense of calm and timeless wisdom, as if the very ground beneath the tree holds the secrets of enlightenment. The Buddha, radiating peace and enlightenment, teaches that the root of all suffering is attachment to desires, possessions, and even our own sense of self. His presence is a living testament to the power of letting go and finding true peace within.
Happiness does not depend on what you have or who you are. It is not tied to material wealth or social status. It solely relies on what you think. Your mindset and perspective shape your experience of the world.
Alex, initially puzzled, listens intently as the Buddha explains the 4 noble truths: the truth of suffering, which is an inevitable part of human existence; the truth of the cause of suffering, which stems from our attachments and desires; the truth of the end of suffering, which is achievable through letting go of these attachments; and the truth of the path to the end of suffering, which is the Eightfold Path.
The Eightfold Path is a practical guide to ethical living, mental discipline, and spiritual insight, designed to alleviate suffering and lead to enlightenment. It encompasses right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration.
The Buddha emphasizes the importance of mindfulness, compassion, and meditation as tools for cultivating inner peace and liberation from suffering. These practices help individuals to stay present, act with kindness, and develop a deeper understanding of their own minds.
True happiness comes not from acquiring more, but from letting go of our attachments and finding contentment within. It is about embracing simplicity and appreciating the present moment.
Alex, though initially hesitant to embrace such a radical departure from his usual way of thinking, starts to see the wisdom in the Buddha's teachings. He begins to understand that the pursuit of external validation and material possessions only leads to a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. He realizes that true happiness isn't about clinging to fleeting pleasures or external validation, but about finding inner peace and liberation from the cycle of desire and suffering. This profound insight marks a turning point in Alex's journey as he begins to let go of his attachments and embrace a more mindful and compassionate way of living. As Alex returns to his own time, he carries with him the wisdom of the ages. He realizes that happiness isn't a single destination, but a journey of self-discovery, inner growth, and mindful living. He's learned that happiness is about knowing himself, embracing simple pleasures, living with purpose, finding inner peace, building strong relationships, and letting go of attachments. He understands that true happiness is not a static state, but a way of life, a continuous process of learning, growing, and connecting with the world around him. Through this journey, Alex learned that happiness isn't one thing, it's many: self-awareness, gratitude, purpose, inner peace, strong relationships, and balance. Which philosopher's wisdom will you follow today? Subscribe for more timeless wisdom and stories to inspire your journey.